Hello everybody, I want to talk to you today about fermented foods, and I'm going to teach you how to make a very easy recipe of your own probiotic drink called Beet Kvass. But first of all, I want to tell you about the importance of getting fermented food in your diet every day. It is vitally important, and Americans have gotten away from eating fermented foods, which has been detrimental to our health. It used to be that people would ferment milk and make kefir. They would ferment their fruits and their vegetables. They didn't have to be refrigerated. They could ferment them. They would use cold storage cellars and make fermented sauerkraut, fermented pickles. And what they were doing is they were providing their intestines, their gut, with trillions and trillions of beneficial bacteria. Your gut is home to about 500 different bacteria, and when you take the probiotic that is created in the fermented food, it helps boost your immune system. It makes your body stronger and more able to fight off disease that can really get a foothold in your body. And why is that important? Well, that is so important because those beneficial bacteria that are living in your gut digest your food. They're in charge of the absorption of the nutrients from the food that you eat. If you and I each ate the same apple with the same amount of nutrition in it, we would each absorb different amounts of nutrition from that apple depending on how healthy our normal flora is in our intestines. So it's really important to get fermented foods into you every day. Every day, it's very important. I make kombucha. I make sure I drink it every day, and there are trillions of probiotic in one bottle of kombucha. It's very inexpensive to make your own probiotic or fermented foods, and it's more nutritious for you and much better for you to do it that way. I'm going to teach you how to make Beet Kvass. Beet Kvass originated in Russia. It is a beet tonic. It's fermented beet water, and I drink a quarter of a cup every morning. And you can work up to half a cup twice a day. And Beet Kvass helps detoxify your liver. It helps with your digestion. It helps supply your body with minerals and vitamins. But most important is that blood cleansing tonic that you're drinking and detoxifying you. To make Beet Kvass, all you need is a 1 quart mason jar, 2 large or medium organic beets, Himalayan salts, and some water, some good quality water. That's all you need to make it. It's very simple ingredients that are easy to get. So let's go to the kitchen and I'll show you what to do. If you're bloated, if you burp a lot after you eat, if you are constipated, if you have diarrhea, you're just always uncomfortable with your digestion, fermented foods is the key for you. I recommend drinking kombucha with your biggest meal of the day to help digest that food. And then I want to teach you how to make the Beet Kvass right now so you can start drinking this daily, twice daily. So what we're going to do, this is mine. It's made in a 1 quart jar. And I'm going to set that aside for right now. But what I did today is I went to the farmer's market and I bought some organic beets, and I'm going to peel them. To peel your beets, you want to cut off each end. And then I just start with a sharp paring knife, just slicing off the skin. And it just so happens, I just realized that I bought yellow beets instead of red. But nevertheless, this will still make a really good probiotic Beet Kvass. Even though it doesn't have the red, that's okay. We can still use it, and I will still use it. Okay, so I have 2, a medium size, a large size beet, and I'm just gonna cut them into just little pieces. You don't want to grate it because it will be too strong, and will anytime you ferment a food, there is some naturally occurring alcohol. If you grate the beets, it'll have too much alcohol in it and it won't be palatable. So I have my beets chopped up. I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of Himalayan salt. You'd never want to use the white salt. It is too processed and it won't have any vitamins or minerals in it. So don't use white iodized salt. Just use either any sea salt, but I prefer the unrefined Himalayan sea salt. So I put in 1.5 teaspoons into a 1 quart ball jar. I'm going to fill it up with alkaline water. If you don't have alkaline water, don't worry. Just use the best water that you can, the normal water that you would drink. And I'm leaving about 1 inch from the top. And then I'm just going to put on my lid to my jar, screw it on tight, and give it a shake. So now what I'm going to do, that's it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this jar aside for anywhere from 2 to 7 days. I usually only set it aside for 2 days because it's pretty warm here. If your house is very warm, you only want to set it aside for 2 days. If your house is really cold or it's the winter time, you could set it aside for 5 to 7 days. How will you know it's done? You'll see maybe some little bubbles floating up to the top. It'll be a little bit fizzy. That's when it's done. I actually don't even wait that long. Normally, we start to drink our Beet Kvass after 2 days of fermentation at room temperature. So what I do next, once I have it in the mason jar, is I date it. If I don't date it, I will forget when I made it, no matter what. I just can't seem to remember. I date it, and then I put it in a cooler. This is the cooler that I use for whenever I'm making fermented foods. I use it for fermented pickles, fermented sauerkraut, everything I make fermented. I put them in the cooler because it provides a nice dark spot for your fermentation. Sauerkraut can sometimes get a little stinky, and sometimes your jars will leak because there's carbonation buildup in the jars, so sometimes some of the juices will seep out. So it's in the cooler, it's not going to make a mess of anything. And then it'll just stay there for 48 hours, if longer if you want. You can also reuse your beets that you've fermented. When you get down to about 1/2 cup left of Beet Kvass left in your jar, then you can fill it back up with water, add 1.5 teaspoons of salt, cap it, and then put it back in your cooler for 2 days, and then you can drink that kvass. When all your kvass is gone, then you can eat your beets, eat them on a salad, drizzle a little bit of olive oil on them, and throw them in a salad, and they're delicious. Once your kvass is ready to drink, keep it in the refrigerator to stop the fermentation. It's much better cool than it is room temperature. So just keep it in the fridge until it's all gone, and then start your second brewing of it. If you do notice some white stuff floating on the top, there's a yeast that it may grow. It's not harmful for you at all. You can scoop it off. I usually just shake it into the Beet Kvass, and we'll drink it anyway. It won't hurt you at all. This is a very safe recipe to use. It's pretty much fail-proof. So I hope that you guys will give this recipe a try. Let me know if you do. I'll be curious to see if you like it. And just think about fermented foods, probiotics, getting them into you. And blessings to you guys. Bye-bye.